I think for myself, just having a year under my belt and knowing what to expect and continue to have fun playing basketball in front of these great fans. And, as long as we win, I'm going to be happy.
Yes, Kate.
Indeed, Caitlyn, after a rookie season that was nothing short of historic, breaking 62 records, leading a basement team to the playoffs, and finishing fourth in the MVP voting, it should have been obvious that Caitlyn Clark would have entered 2025 as a frontrunner for MVP. However, that's not how the media played it. Many of them chose A'ja Wilson repeatedly, saying, "Look, A'ja's elite, no one's denying that," and when they didn't pick A'ja, they made excuses. We know that a championship is the aim, and you're not one to discuss personal accomplishments, so allow me to be selfish for you.
Things. Do I expect A'ja Wilson to be A'ja Wilson again this year? Yes, but I also know there is such a thing as voter fatigue.
However, things have changed lately.
We are right there. Caitlyn Clark is officially the favorite to win the most valuable player.
Bet on FanDuel Caitlyn Clark is the frontrunner for MVP, ahead of A'ja Wilson and Visa Collier, according to MGM and now ESPN. The WNBA media is also slowly catching up after a year of backhanded compliments, eye rolls, and thinly veiled jealousy. They're realizing what the fans already knew, that Caitlyn Clark isn't just good, she's generational. What changed a lot, and everything points to a breakout dominating season from Caitlyn and the Fever. How the turntables isn't fan hype, that's Vegas, that's data, and people are putting real money down because they know it's coming.
Yes! A new career high for Caitlyn Clark.
Let's get started, but first, if you think Caitlyn is winning MVP, like this video and hit subscribe for more. She's going to go beast mode in ways that people aren't prepared for. Updates on Fever.
She is my choice for the 2025 WNBA MVP.
Before the rest of the media caught up, certain individuals like Rachel Duh anticipated it. In addition to having a strong rookie season, Caitlyn Clark broke 62 records. Let that sink in. Most significantly, she set the WNBA single-season assist record as a rookie, which is ridiculous, and she accomplished it while being the league's most talked about, scrutinized, and targeted player both on and off the court for a team that was still figuring itself out.
She broke the record for assists. I don't think people really understand how crazy that is to do as a rookie, your first year doing this.
I mean, this after the Olympic snub. Caitlyn took a whole heater.
Here is Clark off the screen, launches, and drops a triple. Really physically demanding.
From that point on, she scored 23 points per game while leading a team that had finished last the previous season to the playoffs, improving everyone around her, and doing it all in the most intense spotlight a rookie has ever experienced. Of course, all the signs pointed to her second season being even better, but some analysts claim she wasn't even a contender, according to Bleacher Reports. She was actually ranked 6th in the league going into 2025 by WNBA analyst Nukas Duncan. However, he chose to rank Alyssa Thomas, the player who only averaged 10.6 points per game the previous season, ahead of her.
Clark at 5 is crazy to me, and it's crazy to me just off the rip because if we look at the MVP voting from last season, she was number 4 in MVP voting. It was A'ja, Nafisa, Brianna, and then Caitlyn.
Duncan explains that ranking Caitlyn higher felt premature, especially considering that she was ranked above players who had already won titles. Where have we heard that before? Oh, right. When ESPN declared that Caitlyn Clark wasn't among the top 5 women's college basketball players of all time, despite the fact that she was the all-time top scorer, the face of a cultural movement, and the reason the championship game attracted more viewers than the men's.
Can you be a top 5 player if you have not won a title?
However, the same ESPN that once excluded her from their college GOAT list has now named her the frontrunner for MVP, ahead of A'ja Wilson and Nafisa Collier. Since the race is officially a 3-player contest, the odds drastically decrease after Brianna Stewart, and everyone else is essentially out of the running, so this raises the question.
Hey, what happened?
When training camp began, everyone finally began to see what Fever fans already knew. The team made a ton of offseason moves that immediately propelled them into contender status, and every single one of them makes Caitlyn Clark even more dangerous, starting with their coach. Well, a lot of things happened, and honestly, they were all there months ago. The signs, the momentum, the roster moves.
Any coaching at all in Indiana, they would not be 5 games below 500. Again.
Although no one ever publicly stated it, there were indications that Caitlyn Clark and the Fever had succeeded despite their coach, Christy Sides, according to many supporters and pundits.
And I told y'all this last year. Well, I didn't tell y'all this last year on air, but like, we saw when they took the pictures with Christy Sides, like when she pulled up on them at All-Star game, her, Kelsey, and AB, and everybody just kind of like rolled their eyes and walked away like she was a groupie.
Yeah, who?
That told me everything I needed to know. So when I said like she's not it was based on 2 years of seeing things that just shouldn't have been happening in the first place.
You had early in the season, Caitlyn mentioned that she wasn't receiving much guidance from the sidelines. There were times on the court when players' frustrated looks and disjointed huddles made it obvious that something wasn't working. Later, in the offseason, Caitlyn made some subtly telling remarks about the team's lack of structure and strategy, adding to the constant criticism from fans that they were losing close games to better coaches. Yes, it was time for a change, which is why they hired Stephanie White, the 2023 Coach of the Year. Fever supporters knew from the beginning that there was a significant improvement, but now that the media and the league are recognizing the difference in practice, it's not only the fans who are saying it.
Nice, good. Build on this to add then our drags and our step ups. Right here, yep, Tosh. Yep, let's time it so we really get you over the top. Yo, we cannot be short on that pass. We can't be short on that pass.
Better coaching means smarter rotations, cleaner offensive sets, and players actually moving without the ball. It also means more design plays that highlight Caitlyn's vision and teammates who are in the right spot to finish more assists, fewer forced shots, and more points on the board. When the Fever rack up wins because of that efficiency, you can bet that the MVP conversation will heat up quickly. She's going to help the Fever win, which means she'll help Caitlyn.
Now you have a veteran coach in Coach Stephanie White. You have seen her be so involved with her.
And it is evident that Caitlyn is amazed. Stephanie White by herself would have been sufficient to improve Caitlyn's MVP stock by improving her play, tightening up team execution, and actually putting a real system in place. But when you add the new team, you're not just looking at an MVP season, you're looking at a full-on takeover. The Fever didn't just make moves, they made championship moves, signing winners Sydney Carlson and Natasha Howard, both of whom bring that championship DNA, players who have been through the grind and who don't back down when the lights come on. They also added Brianna Turner, who gave them significant depth and rim protection, and you can't forget Cunningham, Sophie.
Balance. So Breezy doing her part. 3 on the way by Sophie is good. Oh, number 9.
She is the sassy, sharp-shooting, trash-talking Swiss Army knife that every team despises to play against but loves to have. She is already making an impression during training camp and looks like the ultimate glue player. Of course, Dana Bonner is also the team's emotional anchor, as evidenced by the way the players talk about her, how they light up when she is mentioned, and how they lean in when she speaks. She is more than just a veteran. They treat her like a player coach. She has won titles and has been through the wars, and she brings that composed championship presence to a team full of talent that is desperate for guidance, whether it be mentoring younger players to keep the team locked in or simply keeping the energy high when the going gets tough. Like any successful team, Dana is the voice in the room, but what really gets people talking isn't just about gathering names. It's also about how those names fit together. Recently, the Seattle Storm's Lexi Brown offered some incredibly insightful analysis, and she was spot on.
You have a Natasha Howard and a DeWanna Bonner that can just straight up go get their own bucket, and they're huge, okay? These are tall people, okay, guys? I think they're both like 6'3" and 6'4", right? So matchup nightmare. Sophie Cunningham has been playing out of position in Phoenix for like 3 years. So she probably will get to go play the 3 again. She's a very underrated defender. And now you have very elite rim protection in Bree Turner. So now you go keep Aaliyah Boston out of foul trouble, which means she's gonna be able to stay on the court. So, do I think that they are a contender?
Yes,
As we've seen so far, there is a clear sense of mutual respect between the veterans and the younger stars, the leaders Dana Bonner and Natasha Howard. One of the biggest questions going into training camp was how this team full of new faces, big personalities, and high expectations would gel. You can have all the talent in the world, but if the chemistry is off, the whole thing falls apart. The tone has been set by Stephanie White, and it's clear that everyone else on the roster wants to be there, learn, and gain your favor.
You know, everybody knows we have so much talent, but at the same time, like, you got to put that together. It's not going to be like, all right, you have all these great players, you step out on the court, it's going to work. Like, it's going to take a little bit of time to figure things out, figure out how everybody works with one another. So, DB's been tremendous, and obviously, you know, not only as a leader, she's a tremendous basketball player too, and she's won championships. She knows what it is. So when she speaks, everybody listens. So I think that was a piece of the thing we were missing last year. It's like we didn't really have that inside of our locker room. So just really grateful for that, and you know, just the way she talks and she leads. Like, for me as a second-year point guard, like, I want to win for her. Like, this is the end of her career. Like, she deserves it.
You know, I think the challenge sometimes for veterans when you come in is to you know, grow the young ones in terms of their leadership. So being willing to help navigate, but also being willing to listen. And this group has been outstanding in that. And they just raise the intensity level. I mean, we have a core group that's pretty intense in general, but when you have players like DB and Tosh and Sid and Sophie that come in and just demand excellence daily, it just takes it to another level.
But to be honest, I think everyone in here is just full of great energy. We know where we want to be at the end of the season, and so I think people are just coming in with a great mindset every day, wanting to learn, wanting to be the best teammate possible. And when I tell you it's a good, fresh breath of air, it is. And so you guys will see it soon.
And that only includes the supporting characters. We haven't even discussed Caitlyn, who has changed as a player from the previous season, and there's a reason for it.